So as long as I've been playing Final Fantasy, I've never entered into in-game content until like last month. And let me tell you, it's terrifying. Okay, I'm just joking. It's not that scary. Okay, yes it is. All right, it really isn't. But that's how I felt thinking about in-game content whenever I was interested in playing it. And I thought this video would be great to kind of share some thoughts on how I got into in-game content and how I know some of you are entering that or have been there, just been interested in getting into it. And I think this can help you a lot. So let's talk about it. What's up, good people? It's your Final Fantasy homie Jay. And before we even get started, I want you to understand three things before we talk about this stuff. One is mistakes are gonna happen. Whenever you start getting into this content, be okay with making a mistake. You're not gonna go in there and flawlessly kill it. Be comfortable knowing that you're gonna die. Your teammates are gonna die. Your healer's gonna miss a res. Your tank is gonna forget the tank swap. You're gonna miss out on DPS. You're gonna get hit by something, probably get knocked off the cliff. I don't want to talk about it from my own personal experience. But know that things are gonna happen and it's okay. That's a part of playing in-game, is learning it and embracing how much faster pace and much more requirement it takes to play in-game than your normal dailies and your story mode quests. Next, understand that everything new takes time. You gotta be patient with yourself. Put in the time. It's gonna take hours. It may take days. It may take weeks for you to be able to complete something. Well, I ran a Savage run on the stream a couple of weeks ago, and it took us 3 hours in the stream to be able to beat it. 3 hours of making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. It was bad, but it was such a fun experience. And when we finally slid that bad boy, it felt great because of the time we invested in it, the mistakes we made, us learning how to overcome those mistakes, learning to fight a little bit by little bit to be able to accomplish that. And that is really what in-game is about. So understand that it's going to take time. You gotta put in the time to just be willing to learn it. You're not gonna be on your first try. You're not gonna be it on your 10th. You might not even be it on your 20th. And that's okay, because you're playing Final Fantasy and you enjoy the game. So you're investing your time in it. And as long as you continue to do it, you'll get there. It'll be okay. You're just learning how to do different things in the game. Now, since we got that out of the way and we've built that confidence up to let you know that once you go in a group, everybody's gonna die, so don't worry about dying. Let me kind of give you some advice on how I feel like you should tackle the in-game content to kind of build that muscle memory and build those what they call it, warrior-like tactics. If you're interested in in-game content, drop a comment below. What is holding you back from giving it a shot and from going in there and just diving it in? Or if you aren't in game yet, what do you look forward to with in-game content? The first ladder to kind of like really diving into in-game is I would start with the extreme trials, not the level 51s unsynced. That's not fair. You don't want to do that to yourself. But to start with the latest content in stream trials, if you really want to kind of get a feel, it'll be harder to find parties for the older stream trials. But the newer content as of Shadowbringer, as his videos drop, will be the ones that you want to tackle. And I don't want to name the titles because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't got there yet. But those extreme trials have echo, and echo is each time your team makes it a certain amount of minutes and y'all wipe, you get a little bit stronger, you get a little more health, so it makes the fight a little easier. And also you can kind of be carried through this if you really don't know what's happening, but it allows you to start understanding kind of how different the fights are than just your normal trials that you do in story mode. This will kind of set that stepping stone of, okay, this is a little tougher. I need to pay a little more attention. I need to know my job a little bit more. I may not know my job to the fullest capabilities, but I know it enough to be able to get the understanding of what I need to do while I'm watching mechanics. So extreme is a good place to start. Unreal trials will be your next step up. Those are old trials as far as like Leviathan, Titan, any of those older trials that started when the game way back, but they haven't been brought up to speed where you're gonna have minimal gear and you're not gonna have any echo. No matter what gear you have, you're gonna have the minimal level that it was when that game released. It allows these old trials to feel like they did when they first came out. And you want to do these second, in my opinion, because extreme trials kind of introduces you, because you got the item level and you also have the echo that can progressively make the fight easier as you fail. Unreal doesn't have that. As you fail, it stays the same. And you're gonna have to progressively figure it out. But the good thing about it is that since it's old fight mechanics, the fights don't change. It just requires you to be able to play it the way it was when it first came out, which would be a next good step for you starting to get your foot really under the in-game umbrella of stress. The third one is Savage Raids. That's currently where I'm at right now. I've been fortunate enough to run it with a group, but if you don't have a group, what you can do is look for a party finder, or you can look for static groups in Discords and on the Reddit. People are always looking to run that stuff. These fights are more like a progression fights. The first couple are pretty much on par with the extremes, so you kind of get the feel of what extremes are, but a little bit harder in your Savages fights. And it brings a little more oomph to it, where the last two and definitely the last one of the Savage Rages are your toughest ones. Those are the ones that's going to be hardest to beat. Those are the ones going to be struggling. It does it nice in the 4 set, so it kind of warms you up to a really good stressful moment. And these is personally where I'm at now, and I've had a great experience. One Savage Raid took me 3 hours, one took me half an hour, one we couldn't even beat. And we had to do it over 2 days. It really tests the limit. And for these raids, you want to know your job. Like, you don't want to be looking down at your skills. You don't want to be having to try to memorize your rotations. You want to be able to go in and just focus on mechanics. So you want to get real comfortable playing whatever class that you're feeling the most comfortable with when you start entering this part of the content, because it's super important. This is where a lot of DPS checks start happening, and if you don't do enough damage in enough amount of time, your party will wipe. So it's important to be able to have those rotation habits already done, where the mechanical habits just come in as part of the process of figuring out the fight. This is kind of where things take a turn, and you want to be able to really know your job in a good sense. Not too much. Like, if you don't know your job 100%, that's okay, but know enough to where you can buck out some damage when need be. Ultimates, that is the fights that I haven't got to yet. Those are the best of the best have done ultimates. The grandada of 20-minute fights of perfection has happened, and you have not seen me there yet. And those people who get into ultimates, those fights are well above my pay grade right now. And you want to go in there knowing your job up and down. You need to know everything about your job. You need to know how to maximize your rotations. You need to know what the best rotation is for your job, because you need to be able to perform at a high level for 20 minutes about. And the people who got that, you get some cool glam. If you're not into glam, there's nothing you're missing out with in-game content. I promise. But if you really want that prestige, oh, I did my thing, Ultimate's where it's at. I haven't got there yet, so I can't preach it to the choir how great it is, how hard it is. But from what I've seen, it's something that I ain't ready for yet. But Ultimate is the highest tier of rating, and when you get there, which I'm planning to one day, I feel like you know how to play Final Fantasy. I want to share this tip. If you don't have a party, you can go to Party Finder. In the Party Finder, you'll want to look for groups of people that are saying like first try, training party, first time run. In the descriptions, you want to look for parties like that, because those are people who also are new to it. I will stay away from like let's clear in 3 tries, must know such and such part. I'll stay clear from that if you're just getting into it. Look for the parties that are trying to progress or trying to train and learn it, because you'll find a group of people in there will also learn the fight that you don't know, and it'll be a great way to learn. Don't look for these fights in Duty Finder. You won't find Savage fights in Duty Finder. You won't find extreme fights in Duty Finder. Just find them in Party Finder. You're gonna waste an hour and a half sitting Duty Finder to not queue for anything. If you want to talk to me on a more personal level, my Discord link is in the description below. It's a great way to keep up with me outside of YouTube. And if you want to hang out with me, my Twitch link is also in the description below. And as always, happy questing. Now go out there and beat Ultimate so I can praise you, because I don't know whenever I'm going to get there. and I need to know somebody who's cool.